Texans traded for Lions running back David Montgomery. The Chiefs released Jawan Taylor. The Colts put a transition tag on Daniel Jones. The Jets franchise tag Breece Hall. Kyler Murray is going to be released. There's been a lot of NFL news over the last few days. I'm going to break it all down, and I'm going to recap all of it for you guys. Let's start with the Texans trading for Lions running back David Montgomery. I think David Montgomery is one of the most underrated running backs in the NFL. And as NFL fans, we kind of like to, have a little bit of attitude in our voice when we talk about guys like Monty, because a lot of us play fantasy football, and nothing would get a Jahmyr Gibbs fantasy owner more riled up than watching David Montgomery have a good game. I think we feel the same way about David Montgomery as we do about Tyler Algier in terms of why is this guy in the fucking game? Bijan's the greatest running back in the history of the sport. But don't get it twisted, okay? David Montgomery is a really, really good back. He has more speed than a lot of people give him credit for. He has the ability to make guys miss in open space more than a lot of people give him credit for. And he can get downhill and run through your fucking face, okay? He is a speed to power combo back. He's not just I'm going to run through your face. He's very underrated part of his game is what he can do in open space in terms of making a guy miss. I think this is huge for the Texans, who I think this means Joe Mixon is done. Get a good back in David Montgomery, who's also fantastic in pass pro, and you get a guy who is so dominant on the goal line, really good goal line down back. You fucking moron. Goal line back, okay? I think this is a good trade for Texans. Basically traded Titus Howard for David Montgomery. The right tackle position is now up in the air. I'm assuming they're going to go tackle in the draft, whether that's Freeling, whether that's Fano, whether that's the other Utah guy, whether it's, what's his name, Braxton. I don't know, the Clemson right tackle. There's a bunch of, it's a deep tackle class, especially where the Texans are going to be drafting. The only two that'll probably be off the board, maybe Fano might not even be off the board, but Mayowaga in the first round. So I assume they go tackle in the first round now, or they bring back Trent Brown, who is a free agent. Yeah, I mean, I think trading away a tackle as the Houston Texans, even though Titus Howard isn't, God's gift to football, it's kind of like CJ's been he's been getting fucking murdered, okay? They traded Laramie Tunsil last year, and they start this offseason by trading their right tackle. I don't know. It's just worth noting, like, I trust Nick Caserio. I do. I think he's one of the best GMs in the sport. Gotta get this O-line sorted out for CJ. Tank Dell's coming back. Nico Collins, David Montgomery, Dalton Schultz, Jaden Higgins, Jalen Nolan. One of them can take a step. There's some real fucking weapons over there in Houston now. If they can just secure this offensive line, get CJ Stroud his confidence back, that team can be a real fucking wagon next year. Think about how good that offense was with Joe Mixon. He had a fantastic season in 2024. So if they can get that type of production out of David Montgomery, him and Woody Marks, solid 1-2 punch, right? The Chiefs released Jawan Taylor, which puts them under the cap for the new season. They can also restructure a few contracts, plenty of money to move around. Jalen Moore, who they signed to a 2-year deal, was a backup tackle in San Francisco with Trent Brown got hurt in 2024. He got a lot of playing time, didn't get too much playing time last year. Oh, no, that's not true. He did get a lot of playing time last year because Josh Simmons went down. Josh Simmons looked like a stud in the games he played. Jalen Moore over to right tackle. They have some good interior offensive linemen. I think the Chiefs' offensive line is a little bit underrated at this point. It was just really, really injured last year. Good move for the Chiefs to free up some cap space, maybe go after a guy like Kenneth Walker if they don't take Jeremiah Love in the first round. The Cardinals cut Kyler Murray. Now, who is the best fit for Kyler Murray, who I think has become so incredibly underrated? I want it on the record that I still do believe in Kyler Murray. He is one of 3 players, along with Josh Allen and Cam Newton, to throw for more than 20,000 yards while also running for more than 3,000 yards. Kyler Murray has the talent. He looked like a top 10 quarterback at one point in his career. He was a first-round pick for a reason. Injuries in Arizona, not the greatest supporting cast in Arizona. Ironically, I think this is the best supporting cast he's going to have offensively, or he would have had offensively if they didn't release him. I still believe in Kyler Murray. He's going to be very, very cheap, which I think is very advantageous to a few teams. Number one, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers need a quarterback. They need a quarterback. Kyler Murray is objectively better than Aaron Rodgers at this point in his career. Aaron Rodgers is the most overrated player. He's not been good the past year. He's been a bottom 10 starter in the league the past 2 seasons. The Minnesota Vikings. Kyler Murray on the Minnesota Vikings, I legitimately think makes them a Super Bowl contender. I'm not kidding. Kevin O'Connell, Kyler Murray system, They need a running back. The offensive line is old, can't really stay that healthy. Maybe they draft a tackle. Maybe they bring in an Isaac Seumalo. Maybe they bring in a guy in free agency. Get some depth on that offensive line. But Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson, Justin Jefferson, with Kyler Murray slinging them the rock, and a Kevin O'Connell offense with the Brian Flores defense behind it. Kyler Murray on the Vikings makes them a Super Bowl contender if Kyler Murray stays healthy and if he likes football, which is also two big ifs. The New York Jets, Kyler Murray to the Jets, I think makes a lot of sense, honestly. And I don't think Kyler Murray is the franchise quarterback, although I do still partially believe in Kyler Murray. I can get behind Kyler Murray on the Jets because the Jets, believe it or not, offensively, I think they're a quarterback away. I mean, you have Olu Fashanu, Armand Membu, stud tackles. You could use an interior offensive lineman. Garrett Wilson's a stud. They just franchise tagged Breece Hall. They have enough weapons, maybe bring in another wide receiver too, but I feel like A.D. Mitchell, John Mechie, and Garrett Wilson is more than enough for Kyler Murray to work with, especially if Mason Taylor takes a step in year 2. He had an above-average season for a rookie tight end. Breece Hall's a stud, especially catching passes out of the backfield. I think if the Jets sign Kyler Murray, their offense can be a top 15 unit in the NFL next year. If Frank Reich's the right play caller, which is another, again, a very big if. But the Jets' offense is in a spot in terms of talent where they just need a quarterback, maybe a wide receiver too. And if they got the right quarterback, it can be an elite offense in this league. This is the best offensive line the Jets have had since 2011 on paper. With Joe Tippmann, Josh Myers, Armand Membu, Olu Fashanu. So Kyler Murray to the Jets doesn't all of a sudden doesn't sound like the most horrible thing ever. And you could put together enough cool highlights of a good edit and make a good edit of Kyler Murray where I could get behind him on the Jets. Some other good fits for Kyler. The Steelers, the Vikings, the Jets make a lot of sense. I thought Arizona should have just kept him because even if he stunk next year and the Cardinals stunk, this next quarterback class is so disgusting. I've been watching a lot of these receivers that are coming in the draft, so like your Jordan Tysons, your Carnell Tates, your Mekhi Lemons. And let me tell you, Sam Levitt's a fucking baller. Dante Moore's a fucking baller. Julian Sain's a fucking baller. Jordan Mailata with one more year. He has a lot to fix between the years. He makes a lot of dumb decisions, but he also put a lot of really impressive throws on tape. That's not even talking about Arch Manning. Maybe even a Marcel Reed, who I still believe in. Another guy with a lot of things to fix between the ears, needs to improve his accuracy. Who knows? Dylan Raiola. He'll probably stay another year at Oregon. He probably won't enter the draft next year. The kid from Cal. Like, next year's QB class is going to be so fucking dirty that why not just keep Kyler if you're Arizona? And you can just wait. And if he stinks, and you're drafting in the top 10. And if he doesn't stink, great, he doesn't stink. That's why I think the Jets bringing him in would be advantageous to the Jets, because if Kyler stinks, well, you own the first round next year anyway. If you're not in a top 5, top 6 spot, you have the ammunition to move up and go get your franchise quarterback. Or if you're the Steelers, if Kyler Murray stinks, then you're in a position next year where you can draft a franchise quarterback, and the Steelers desperately need a franchise quarterback. If you're the Vikings, if Kyler Murray stinks, you still probably win 7 or 8 games because your roster is that good. But the Jets and the Steelers roster is not that good, especially, well, I don't want to say especially the Steelers, but the Steelers roster is aging. At least the Jets roster stinks, but on offense, all the good pieces are young. What's another good fit? What's a QB needy team? Miami, Kyler to Miami could be a shout for sure. I feel like Malik Willis is penciled in Miami as well. But I don't know. I think it's really interesting. You see a guy like Kyler Murray who felt like he was going to be a franchise guy. Like, he deserved the contract he got. The stuff he put on film, he deserved the contract he got. Number 1 overall pick, playing at a really, really high level. But then he just fell off a cliff after the injuries, was never the same player. Didn't help him too much with a supporting cast in Arizona, but still. I think it's an interesting case here with Kyler Murray. I think he's definitely one of the best bridge quarterbacks a team could ask for, because you're going to be getting him on a really, really cheap contract for a couple of years, 1 to 2 years, and he has really high upside. So I think Kyler, very interesting free agent. The Colts place a transition tag on Daniel Jones. So basically, what a transition tag is, if I'm understanding correctly, teams can offer a contract to this free agent, but the team that applied the transition tag has the right to match the offer. And if they don't match the offer and the team and the player signs the contract with the other team, that team that the player signed the contract with has to give them compensation. Like in Breece Hall's case, it would be 2 first-round picks. So in order for another team to sign Breece Hall, they'd have to give the Jets 2 first-round picks. That's not going to fucking happen. So it's just a fancy word for franchise tag, but it allows players to go and test and see what their market is. Kind of, because no team's going to offer Breece a contract because they would have to, if Breece signed it, he'd give the Jets 2 first. I could be totally wrong. That's what I read. Same deal with Daniel Jones. I think Alec Pierce and Daniel Jones will be Colts when it's all said and done. Good moves by Chris Ballard. Good moves, and I think this Colts offense will be right back to where it was pre-Daniel Jones injury, especially if you get Alec Pierce in there. Him and Michael Pittman be a top 10 receiver duo in the league. I think Alec Pierce is a weapon who's only scratching the surface of what he can be. One of the best offensive lines, young offensive line too, with Jonathan Taylor. The defense needs improvement. They're losing Kwity Paye this offseason. Their off-ball linebacker play is suspect. Their secondary is pretty solid, but they with Sauce, Charvarius Ward, not Byron Murphy. Yeah, I think it is Byron Murphy or Cam Bynum. I always get those two confused. One of those two. The Colts are in a decent spot. I like it. My gut's telling me that Danny Dimes is scamming again. Like, he's going to go out there and get a stupid fucking contract the way he got a stupid fucking contract with the Giants for half a season of good quarterback play, and the culture is going to be a bad spot again next year. I don't know. We'll see. Like, is Daniel Jones worth extending? Like, he wasn't that good. He was not that good. Whatever. I don't know. The Daniel Jones guy, he's just an all-time scammer. Drew Dahlman retiring at 27, just absolutely brutal blow to the Chicago Bears. 1 year after signing an extension, he was going to be a guy there for 5 years, a franchise center, playing at a really high level, played almost every snap for the Bears last season. Brutal for Chicago and their left tackle. They might never play football again. So all of a sudden, the Bears have holes on their offensive line again. The Giants released Bobby Okereke. Sonny Styles at 5 makes me think. Bengals not tagging Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson finally going to get free from the shackles of Cincinnati Bengals ownership.